Today I'm flying from Toronto to Winnipeg in business class with Air Canada. Come check out some of Air Canada's finest lounges, the infamous Toronto Pearson Airport, an Air Canada plane that leaves a bit to be desired, and more. Our adventure begins at Toronto Pearson Airport, taking off from Terminal 1, the exclusive Air Canada and Star Alliance Club. It's like being in the VIP section, except everyone's invited and it's really just a terminal. The hustle and bustle here are real. It's like a beehive but with more suitcases and less honey. I will say it's nicer than Terminal 3 at Pearson, but you know what they say. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. First stop, the Air Canada Cafe. This place is the new kid on the block, and it shows. It's got that just moved in vibe with tasteful decor and surprisingly chill atmosphere, unlike its deranged cousin, the Maple Leaf Lounge. The cafe is all about the grab and go lifestyle. Think of it as a fancy convenience store where everything is free. You can just stroll in, pick up a snack, and stroll out, feeling like you've pulled off a heist without any of the risks. This is against the policy at most other lounges, but I really appreciate what Air Canada is doing here. It's mainly grab and go snack food with a small buffet that has hot food. There's also a bar that mainly serves caffeinated beverages a la Starbucks. I decided to give the overnight oats a try. You know, everyone's been hyping these up like they're the culinary discovery of the century. So there I was, spoon in hand, ready to be wowed. But let me tell you, the first bite took me on a travel adventure right back to kindergarten. It was like eating paste but with less flavor and more disappointment. And speaking of the Maple Leaf Lounge, it's huge, but it felt like a Black Friday sale in there. I barely managed to film anything without bumping into hordes of travelers. The self-serve alcohol, including Guinness on tap, was a nice touch. But let's be real, they need an army to serve the crowd in there. By the way, if you want to see a lounge that really knocks your socks off, check out my video on the WestJet Elevation Lounge in Calgary, link in the top right corner. One thing I do like and appreciate about Air Canada is that your standard business class ticket gets you into their lounges. A domestic business ticket will not get you into a lounge with WestJet, Delta, American, or United. Air Canada truly has blessed us with this perk. In a place like Toronto where there are 2 lounges, you can also hop between the 2 no problem. There is a cost though. At busy airports like Pearson or Vancouver YVR, the lounges are often filled to the brim. Speaking of filled to the brim, let's talk about Pearson Airport. I'm a proud Canadian. I love the city of Toronto, but let me be clear. Avoid Pearson if you can. It's like getting stuck waiting for the slow elevator in a crowded building. You're in there not because you want to, but because it's the only way to get to the top floor. The security lines are getting better, and you can skip lines if you have Nexus or a premium credit card. I do have both, praised be to the travel gods. But it always feels more chaotic than it needs to be here. There are just too many people trying to get through all at once. We're flying on one of Air Canada's vintage A320s. You know it's old when the seat and in-flight entertainment gives you a nostalgic vibe. It's like stepping back in time. The seats are comfy though. Occasionally Air Canada flies their newer Boeing 737 MAX on this route with a much more modern interior. No luck this time, so enjoy the blast from the past. Let's talk about the seats. The business class cabin seats 14 people in a 2x2 layout. You will notice there is one less row on the left-hand side. We're in the first row on the left, sitting in 2A and 2B. These seats are a bit of a novelty. You're in bulkhead seats, so there's more legroom, but there's also an enclave for your bags. This means you don't have to lug your bags up into the overhead bin. The only catch? Stretching out requires a bit of creativity. Don't wear a skirt if you have long legs and are sitting in 2B. I'm gonna write that down for my future self. The tray table is massive, designed to stretch across the wider business class seat. You could probably host a small dinner party on it if you wanted to. It does slide up and down as well. Once settled in, the Air Canada crew springs into action. They greet me by name. It's like they've mistaken me for someone famous. No, sir. Mr. Jet Setter was my father. I will say the service was great and the flight attendant really hustled to accommodate everyone in the business class cabin. Now let's talk about the in-flight entertainment. It's a blast from the past. I was half expecting there to be a VHS input on the bottom of the IFE. You know, just in case you brought your own copy of Shrek. Navigating the system is an adventure in itself, like a mini game before the actual games and movies start. I think a bring your own device system is probably superior to these old IFE screens. Air Canada does have a fairly robust offering of Wi-Fi packages. Here's a pro tip. Aeroplan members get free messaging on Air Canada flights. It's also free to sign up and probably worth it if you're going to take an Air Canada flight. You can start collecting points too, and I'm all about the points life. Dining in business class is always a special experience to me, though on a shorter flight like this, it does happen fast. It starts with a warm towel, which is always a nice touch. Then come the warm nuts, setting the stage for the main event. Warm chicken tangine. Thankfully, the rum and coke I was served with the nuts was cold. It is a sizable portion of food and definitely gets the job done. Let's talk about how much this flight cost. I booked a 3-leg itinerary using Aeroplan points that took me from Oslo to Amsterdam on Scandinavian Airlines, Amsterdam to Toronto in Air Canada's signature pods, and finally this business class flight from Toronto to Winnipeg. It costs 60,000 Aeroplan points, which is a great value for a lot of business class flying. As we begin our descent into Winnipeg, I can't help but ponder the business class experience. Is it worth it on shorter flights? It's a bit like splurging on a gourmet meal when you're not even that hungry. If I had just booked the Amsterdam to Toronto leg in business class, it would have also cost the exact same 60,000 Aeroplan points. In this scenario, I'm more than happy to add the extra leg in business class for the exact same price. However, I don't think I would shell out average cash prices for it. Remember, in the world of air travel, business class is like adding truffle oil to your fries. Not needed, but oh so delightful. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button if you want to see more of my bad jokes. See you on the next flight!